So I took one of those alpha male quizzes. I did it for fun. It was like, are you a beta? Are you an omega? A gamma male? And probably some other ones. Oh yeah, sigma. Sadly, I got beta. But then that made me realize something. What if I picked some more of the aggressive options? Like, what would you do in this situation? Oh, I punched him. What's your biggest issue? Anger issues. And the second time around for the test, I got alpha. So I realized something. Much like this quiz, many people believe that to be a good man, you also need those qualities, especially men who want to be masculine. So if you look at a generic alpha male stereotype online, you'll see anger issues, pride, physically masculine, ideally jaw, height, dominant in the sense that you're very defensive against attacks against you personally. Like someone says, hey, you're an idiot. Come on, you don't want to lose your position as the alpha male. Say something. What do you do?
I was going to rip his heart out. I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been.
Next is being accomplished. You're having money, status, body, which means you go to the gym, and that means you have a really good amount of willpower, at least for certain things. And lastly, and maybe most obviously, getting a lot of attention from women, but most importantly, sleeping with as many of them as possible. And some of the qualities I mentioned are pretty good, like being masculine looking and being accomplished, but many of them aren't. And if you look at someone like Andrew Tate, I'm not saying he's completely awful, and he's very good at a lot of things, and I don't know much about him, but there's one thing that I do know. He has a lot of kids from different women, and that means he has slept around a lot and probably continues to do so. Many see him as a role model, but those actions are really no good, and nobody should be trying to replicate the same. But I believe this aspect often gets confused as something that's a good thing, because if you can sleep with so many women, that must mean that you have something about you, so that must mean that you are masculine. Well, yeah, I guess, but if you can, it doesn't mean you should. But the fact that you can does say something, and that's why it's often misunderstood. But nonetheless, I don't think a pinnacle man, just a perfect, just Giga Chad, needs to show off to everybody that he can sleep with all these women because he's attractive or has something about him. Because Giga Chad isn't prideful. He doesn't need to show off with no purpose. Think if you had to date a female version of yourself. Well, you like sleeping with as many women as possible. She likes sleeping with as many men as possible. You don't want to date someone like that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not defending women who behave like this. I'm just saying both are bad. And that's the exact same way that the red pill is very flawed. Because for most red pillers, their goal is to improve themselves to do what? To sleep around with as many women as possible. And if you don't know what I just meant when I said red pill, then I'm going to explain it. And if you already know, then you can just skip to this timestamp. So the pills are an internet concept of how you perceive modern dating. There's blue, red, and black. Someone who's blue-pilled, I guess you'd say, believes that in order to succeed in modern dating, you just need to be yourself. The negative side of this is that even if you have negative traits, don't go out of your way to fix them. Just be you. Next is the one I just talked about. Red pill. This one I think has a lot of good qualities. Improve yourself. For this one, the people who are red pilled believe that you need to improve yourself in some way in order to succeed in dating. Whether that's money, status, body, game. Game is probably the silliest one. But the way most red pillars are different from, let's say, a blue pill or the black pill, which I'll cover next, because their goal mainly consists of sleeping with as many women as possible. And that is the major negative side of this mindset or pill. Now, lastly, the mysterious black pill. Those who are black pill believe that in order to succeed in modern dating, you need to have good genetics. Your fate was forged the moment you were born. This one varies. The ones that are very, very extreme, like I just said, they believe there's nothing you can do. It's just completely genetics. The rest believe there's some you can do, but there are a lot of things that you just can't change. And that's fair. That's actually a pretty good mindset to have. At times, you're not going to change the size of your nose. You're not going to change how big your ears are. But the negative aspect, even of the more hopeful side of the black pill, is that I believe many still underestimate what that some improvement can actually be. Now let's move on from this topic. By now, I talked about what you shouldn't be. I even talked about the pills. And I'll add that drinking and smoking are not masculine things. But what are masculine things? Or what are things that Giga Chad, Adonis, what would they do? Well, I think the moment you start avoiding sin, then you start to have a really good straightforward path on what it means to be a good man. Well, sleeping with a lot of random women, that's lustful, that's bad. Not being able to control your temper and being overly wrathful, well, that's no good either. You start following the Lord, and then you start understanding what you actually need to do. And I have nothing else to add. Have a good day.